This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Hello friends and welcome back. Today I am going to be working on designing a character that is unlike any character I have ever done before. Now that it is finally starting to warm up just a little bit in the Carolinas, I have been very inspired to start working on creating some spring-inspired folk art characters. So today we are going to be doing a snail, which is kind of an obscure idea, and I am excited to see how it goes because I've never done anything with that complex of a shape. It's a very unique creature. So I am very, very excited to get started on this character. But before we get on with today's video, I would like to take a moment to thank today's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is the largest online learning community with thousands of classes taught by actual industry experts across illustration, design, productivity, and more. Skillshare offers classes on topics like painting, sculpting, and even classes on how to grow your own YouTube audience as well. When I was researching new painting techniques for this week's video, I found this class, The Ultimate Guide to One-Stroke Painting by Annika, which I found extremely helpful later on in this video. One of my favorite things about Skillshare is that they allow you to go through these classes at your own pace and then share your project with other members who can then provide useful feedback. Skillshare is the perfect place to expand your knowledge and skill sets on a variety of creative topics. Creativity is a muscle that grows and grows as you continue to use it. So if you would like to grow your creative muscle, there is no better place to start than Skillshare. The first 500 people to use my link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Get started today. Thank you again to Skillshare, and now let's get on with today's project. I have already done my sketches for this project. I just quickly came up with a few concepts that I really like. I knew from the start that I wanted the shell of the snail to have a very intricate floral design. And that is where I'm going to be applying some of those techniques that I learned from Annika's Skillshare class, which I find very helpful. I usually don't go by the sketch like too closely. I normally just use it as kind of a rough idea of what I want the character to turn out like, but it's mainly just useful to have a sketch that you can physically look at when it comes to sculpting, just so that you can understand the proportions and the overall shapes and where they need to go and how they need to fit together. So it's always important to come up with a concept sketch, or you can just start sculpting freely. But now that we have the sketch done and I have a better idea of what we are going for, we can go ahead and start working on our foil base. Okay. So now that we have got our sketches done, and I'm pretty happy with how they look. They're not exactly what I'm going for, but I can see it all in my head. So we're going to go ahead and start making the base for our snail out of aluminum foil, which is my go-to for any sort of like intricate sculptures that have like a very unique silhouette or shape. Aluminum foil is a great tool for that, and it's very lightweight and very inexpensive. So we're gonna go ahead and start making our base. Okay, it's giving snail. So now we have our tinfoil base ready. You know, it vaguely looks like a snail. So we're gonna go ahead and mix up the first coat of clay. This is the clay that I'll be using. This is Celluclay. This is my go-to clay. If you want to learn more about Celluclay and how I mix it and my layering techniques and stuff, you can check out some of my other folk art videos. I have a whole playlist on the channel for those, and I've talked more in depth about my process using this stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and mix up a batch, and I'm just going to basically give this what bakers would call a crumb coat, just to seal everything into like a solid mass so that I can then put another layer over it and get it as smooth as possible, because I do want to apply some new painting techniques. So I really want to make sure that the surface is as smooth as I can get it. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, so we have our base layer done. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this in the dehydrator, and I'm gonna leave it for probably about 2 hours to dry. And we'll come back and see how it looks. So we have our base done. As you can see, it looks pretty rough. So we're gonna go ahead and start putting our second layer on and really start building up the shape of the shell and trying to smooth out the head and body as much as possible. And I'm probably also going to add some ripples to the bottom, sort of make it look a little more snail-like. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, so our sculpt is finally done. I'm really happy with how it looks so far. So we're going to go ahead and start painting it now. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, I'm gonna be trying to use some of the techniques that I learned from Annika's Skillshare class to try and paint some one-stroke flowers around the shell. So that's gonna be fun. But let's go ahead and start with our base coat. So now that I've got my base coat done, I'm gonna start dry brushing the main colors of the body and the shell on. And for those of you who don't know what dry brushing it is just pretty much loading up just a tiny amount of paint in your brush and just lightly dragging it over the surface just to hit the high points and bring out the texture without fully coating the surface. Next, I'm just gonna lighten up that same shade of green with a little bit of white. And now I'm just gonna start highlighting any of the important parts of the sculpt, just to give it a little more depth. honestly, this has to be one of my most favorite characters that I've ever designed. I am just so thrilled with how his little face and the flowers turned out, and all in all, I absolutely am so thrilled with him. I think that he is just adorable, and he's weird and he's strange, just like me, and I love that. I just love him so much. Let me know what you guys think about him, and also give me some name suggestions because I don't really know what to name him. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a comment and a like, and if you're not already, please subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss out on a new episode. You can also go and follow me over on my Instagram at Aiden Taylor Official, where I post every time that I upload a new video. Thank you all so much for tuning in to today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.